Hi, this is Trevor Conquergood, and welcome to this week's R&K Software Club's video for the week. And the topic for this week is about some of the different ways that you can display your stitches and your background space. And so I'm going to pop onto my software and we can go ahead and get started. We'll just close up the camera. And so really what I'm saying is there's a toolbar here that has a lot of different settings for kind of how you can display your workspace and the stitches that are on it. So maybe down at the very bottom, this is the background color and it's currently set on white. But if you wanted to use a different color for the background, you could choose any color from here, or you can create your color, kind of from the little by clicking here, it sort of picks that spot, and then I can do all these different shades of green kind of based upon where I clicked. And so if I really wanted that to me, my color, I'll just say add to custom colors and make that be the background for our workspace. And so you can have any color you want back there. Plus, click on the button again. You can also choose fabric. And so now you're going to be able to choose kind of like from your fabric library to put different fabrics in your background. And so it's up to you whether you do a color or whether you do a fabric. But sometimes having a different color than white can be helpful. Maybe you just like to see what your design is going to look like on the color of the fabric, so quick to change. Maybe what we'll do is actually open up a design, and so I'll just kind of look in my library for some of my embroidery designs that I can open up. And the first thing to notice is that this design is displayed in like 3D. So when you look at this sort of toolbar that's colored in blue here, you'll notice a couple of the tools are brightly colored in orange. One of them says show/hide stitches, and if you click on it, it will hide the stitches or show them again. And then up at the top, you've got the one that says 3D, and when you click on 3D, it will sort of change your view from kind of more like three-dimensional realistic looking graphic to kind of more the sort of thinner lines that the computer might create. So there's advantages to turning that on and off if you want to see the underlying stitches. Turning off 3D allows you to kind of see through the stitching a little bit better than when it's in the 3D mode. When you turn off 3D, you're also able to see things like the path that the stitching takes, and so you'll notice that to get from this foot to that nose, the machine kind of ties off and then jumps over here. And so when you have 3D turned on, it won't show you those sort of traveling stitches. So we often turn this on and off depending on kind of how we want to view the design. I'll just double click on my magnifying glass to center the embroidery to my workspace. And kind of looking through this toolbar, not everything here is something that we'll talk about today, but the main ones, so we're going to talk about, so I guess I'll just describe them all. This is the import vector artwork tool, and this one is for sort of block and line mode. Those have more to do with like Total Quilter. If you all don't have the Total Quilter sort of add-on, you probably won't even see those icons. But essentially here, this is a view tool for Total Quilter that when you're looking at your block, so if I was to open up kind of like one of my Aptly Quilt blocks, it would sort of display with or without the solid colors in the fabric shapes. And so that's what that is about. And if you don't have Total Quilter, you won't even see that tool. This is, of course, your backdrop tool, and that's how you can select a backdrop. That's how you can resize your backdrop. The next tool is for the grid background. You can turn it on and turn it off. And just notice that when I turn things on, that their buttons become kind of highlighted in orange. So orange buttons means they're on. When they're not orange, it means they're not turned on. This is the, again, probably came from Total Quilter. That's having a cutting mat on to display in the background. This is, of course, to display a hoop in your background on and off. The next one below that is to select the hoop. So now you can sort of choose your machine format, and then you can choose all the different hoops that are available for that machine format. And then the button above is the on and off for whatever hoop you've selected. So yeah, this was the show and hide stitches. Below that is the show stitch points. So notice when I turned stitch points on, it kind of made my design look a little darker. See, because I'm too zoomed out to really be able to see the stitch points, but if I zoom in and I click, can you sense what it's doing? It's actually putting a dot over where the needle goes down. And if you turn off 3D, you'll see them a lot more clearly, right? So now see what it does? It puts the needle points down. And if you zoom in, really close, it allows you to see exactly where there is a needle point in your design. And that can be really helpful for when you want to work in the stitch editing mode, because as you know, with stitch editing, you can select any individual needle point and move where it goes or delete them or add new ones. We'll talk more about that tool later, but just know that the showing and the hiding of the needle points can really help if you're doing stitch editing. Sometimes you just want to know, why is there something the way it is, and you want to see the stitches, and so turning on the stitch points can help. This is a tool that we use to close a shape, and so it really has to do with creating shapes. If they don't, if you draw a shape but you don't kind of connect the beginning to the end, this will close it. This would be if you put a backdrop on your screen, so why don't we do that right now? Just choose the backdrop tool, select this ladybug, and say OK, and so the ladybug becomes kind of part of our background of our software. If you click off of the backdrop tool, notice that she's really just part of the background and not really selectable in any way. But if you wanted to show and hide, that's this tool here. So that'll hide your backdrop or show it again. And this is the select backdrop tool. So the two backdrop tools aren't kind of side by side here. The one up top here is the one that actually selects the backdrop and allows you to resize it to different sizes or change its location or even rotate it. And of course you can interact with that backdrop over here in the properties box too, right? You can use this to rotate it to any angle. You can also scale it to any size or tell it to be a specific size just by typing in here. Anyhow, so that's your backdrop tool, and when you click on any other tool, like for example select, your backdrop becomes unselected and is simply part of the background. But then this tool becomes available because that is your show and hide of your backdrop. So really the ones with the eyeballs are the show hide stitches or show hide backdrop or show and hide your embroidery hoop. And so now we have a tool here that looks like a little ghost. The ghost comes into play when you hide stuff. So for example, over on the right in the sequence view, I can select, the purple color of this egg. And beside it, there's a lock and there's an eyeball. Well, the lock will actually do exactly that. If I click on the lock, notice it's locked, and I can no longer select that purple. I could select every other part of the design, but not the purple. Now you can unlock it by clicking back on the lock. And the other one over here is the eyeball. So that's hide just that one color. So not show hide all stitches, which is this one. This would be just hide those stitches, that one color, or perhaps both of those colors, and hiding that part of the design. They're still there. You just click on the eyeball to see them again. Well, when you hide something, then if you turn on the ghost, it will show you the things that you've hidden in kind of a non-colored, kind of like a ghost view, right? So if you unhide them, then they're no longer in ghost mode. So ghost, when you turn on ghost, it shows the hidden items, but it shows them as like a ghost because they don't have their colors in them like that. Yeah, so that's all the tools. The last one on the toolbox is the one we started with, the background color and the fabric color, and so you can make your own colors for your backgrounds. Just choose them from the list over here and click OK. And so I hope you enjoyed today's video in learning a little bit more about the different ways that you can, alter the display of your workspace. Until next week, have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening, and bye for now.